Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Monday. It's time for a 5x5. This is where I take 5 subjects related to magic. I spend 5 minutes talking about each subject and then I move on to the next subject. It's quick, it's snappy, you never know what you're going to get. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the Blackpool Magic Convention 2024. Now, I've done a review of the Blackpool Magic Convention 2024. You can see that. That went up on Friday. Tomorrow I've got a video about the top 10 tricks that I saw at the Blackpool Magic Convention 2024. But today, on this 5x5, I'm going to talk about 5 things that I hated at the Blackpool Magic Convention 2024. 5 things that really kind of annoyed me, 5 things that pissed me off. This is only my opinion. Doesn't mean that I'm right, but this is what I think. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about the 5 things that happened at the Blackpool Magic Convention that really annoyed me. Okay, so number 1, the first thing that really annoyed me at the Blackpool Magic Convention happened after the Blackpool Magic Convention took place. Or during, after and during, and it's people that put reviews of the convention up on the Facebook page and just decided to attack, really attack the individual lecturers, the individual performers, the individual artists on the gala shows, and just really went to town to make those people feel as bad as they possibly could feel. And you know what? I think that's disgusting. And I'll tell you why I think it's disgusting. Look, I'm a reviewer. I review magic tricks. And I have been known in the past to get really annoyed about a product if I think it doesn't actually do what it's intended to do. But I try never to make it personal. Now, in the past, I have. The old Craig used to make things personal a little bit, but I don't do that. I haven't done that for years. I try not to do that. I was wrong, and I've grown as a person. So I'm talking to anybody that's left a review like this from a position of somebody who used to do that sort of thing. Honestly, you don't want to make it personal because it's subjective. You know, there's somebody that went, oh, this person's the worst lecturer of all time. He has no personality. While somebody else I saw said, oh, that's the best lecturer I've ever seen. You see somebody, I saw somebody leaving a review saying, oh, this person on the gala show was terrible, and the reason they're terrible is because of this. And somebody else goes, well, that was my favourite act. Like, it's subjective. I get that you don't like something. It would be a boring place if everybody liked the same thing. It really would. If everybody liked everything, it would be a boring place. Opinions are eclectic, and I totally get that. But the thing is, if you don't like something, that's your opinion. You might be biased for whatever reason. I'm biased. I think that Kyle Purnell is one of the best magicians in the world. I have a personal relationship with Kyle. I like him. He's a friend. I'm a big fan of his stuff. So obviously, if I was going to review his lecture, I'm going to say Kyle is the most amazing magician of all time. Bow down to his greatness. Now, somebody else might not like him, and that's fine. But there's no reason to review him or any of the other lecturers or any of the other acts on the gala show and make them feel bad about themselves. There's one person in particular that I believe has been banned from the Facebook group that was doing daily reviews, and those daily reviews were absolutely toxic. Just fucking toxic, and it was disgusting. I've had, I'm used to getting hate. It happens. I get it on an almost a daily basis. Craig's Marmite. Oh, some people like Craig, some people hate Craig. You know, there's a guy on the Genie forum that said that, it doesn't really matter what he said. It makes no difference. But the point I'm trying to make is I know what it's like to receive hate. And it's took a long time for me to get to a point in my headspace where I kind of think to myself, I don't really care whether people like me. I don't care whether people don't like me. I am totally not bothered either way because I'm good. I'm good. I do me. You do you. I do me. And I'm good with that. But Blackpool organisers, they don't arbitrarily just walk around and just book crap acts. You know, there's people that have been trying to get on the Blackpool convention lineup for years and still haven't been able to get there. The people that they book are absolutely incredible. And to turn around to any of them and say, oh, this guy's the worst magician in the world. Well, no, he's not. And yeah, fine. Review the product. Review the convention. not a problem at all. But to turn around and be toxic and be nasty and be personal about it, it says more about you than it does about the person that you're reviewing. Okay, the second thing that I hated about the Blackpool Magic Convention is the security. Not all of the security guards. I think they had new security this year. But some of the security guards were absolute arseholes that were just on a power trip from another level. And I saw examples of this over and over again. It started for me on the Thursday when I was loading in my stuff for my dealer. I was loading in stuff to the dealer hall. If you don't know, the dealers can get in on Thursday to set all their stands up, right? We can get there from early in the morning. We set all the stands up. We can be in there throughout the day because it's probably the only day we're going to be able to network with all the other dealers and chat to them ready for when it opens on the Friday. And there's a couple of different ways to get in, but a lot of the people go in through the back. And obviously you need a badge to get in there. You go in there to get the badge, and then you're allowed into the dealer hall. So I got my badge, all well and good. Everything was fine. Chris Strickland did a great job with the dealers, really did a great job. Got my badge, and the guy kind of stopped me because I had my badge on the wrong way around. And the guy stopped me and he went, oh, you're only dealers. I'm like, I'm a dealer. And he just looked at me and he went, well, how am I meant to know that? I'm like, well, you could have just asked me to turn it round. There you go. There's my badge. And he's like, oh, okay. And let me in. But then I had a few trips to do, right? So then I was going to come out and go back in with something else. And I put my badge in my pocket and I'm carrying these heavy boxes. And the guy was like, hey, you're not allowed in. I'm like, dude, you recognize me. We spoke 5 minutes ago. Oh, no, I don't care. I need to see you back. You saw it 5 minutes ago. You can't come in then. But it's in my pocket. I'm going to have to put these things down. Can't you just trust me? No. Can you reach into my pocket? No, I can't. Okay, well, I'll put the boxes down and I'll show you the badge. And then, no customer service. This guy didn't have a fucking clue. If customer service went up and smacked him in the face, he wouldn't even know about it. This guy had the customer care ability of a fucking wet frog. Like, it was just diabolical. And I saw him doing it to a bunch of other dealers as well. But then it got worse throughout the convention. Like, on the final day, on the Sunday, the security were turning people away from the pavilion at 4:15. Bearing in mind, the dealer hall shuts at 5 o'clock, not 4:30, not 4:15, 5 o'clock. At 4:15, they weren't letting anybody else in. They just weren't letting anyone else in. And it's ridiculous because people were allowed to be in there till 5 o'clock. At like 20 to 5, they were bullying people away. I was working on the Penguin stand at about 20 to 5 one day, and I was performing a trick to somebody, and he's like, you're going to have to stop now. They're going to need to come back tomorrow. I'm like, it's not 5 o'clock. It doesn't matter. They need to get out. What? There's so many reports of people being rude and the security being rude and the security being on a power trip. I left my badge on my dealer stand. When I was leaving, I can't remember which day, on my stand, not on the Penguin stand, on my Magic TV stand. I left my dealer badge on it. And I come out, and it was like probably 5:05. And I come out, and I realised just as I left the pavilion that I didn't have my dealer stand. And I didn't have my dealer badge. And I was like, oh, I've got my badge. I'm going to have to go back in. And the guy wouldn't let me back in. I'm like, you've just seen me walk out after 5 o'clock. You're going to have to get it tomorrow. Yeah, but you're not going to let me in tomorrow, are you? Because if I haven't got my dealer badge, you're not going to let me go and get it to show it you. Now is the ideal time. And he just turned around to me and he said, get out. I was like, I've got to go and get my dealer stand. And luckily, Ryland was there with me. And he hasn't got a dealer stand, but he's got an artist badge. I'm like, look, this is my son. I'm just going to send him in to get my badge. If I'm not allowed in, I'm just going to send him in to get my badge. He's not a dealer. He's an artist. You can let him in there. And when he was arguing with me, Ryland just ran past him and just went and got my badge and brought it out. But the guy was just a complete and total fucking cockwomble. And, look, it's fine. I get that security are doing their job and there's a lot of people there, and I totally get that. But there's a way to do it. The people that are in that convention have spent a lot of money to be there. And to treat them like a piece of shit is just disgusting. This isn't on the Blackpool organisers. This is on whoever the fucking security were, because they were just on a power trip. Not everybody. Some of them were lovely, but some of them were just terrible. Okay, so the next one is, the third thing that annoyed me, is people saying that the convention is too expensive. Look, I'm sorry, look, okay, right. It's always your opinion. If you think it was too expensive, if you went to the Blackpool Magic Convention and you saying it's too expensive, it should be cheaper, that's your opinion. I personally think that you're nuts. Because honestly, where else are you going to get everything that you get for the price that you pay at the Blackpool Magic Convention? You're getting some of the best shows in the world. You're getting some of the best artists in the world. Tickets to see a show like Matt King would cost an absolute fortune. Tickets to see a show like the Friday Night Gala show, Tom Wright show, Magical Bones show, Ben Hart show, the list goes on and on and on. To get tickets to see shows like that, it would cost an absolute fortune. And that's not even taking into consideration how much you'd have to spend to go and see, like, you know, you can easily spend like £10 to go and see like just about 15, 20 dealers. You had almost 200 dealers in that room. You had literally every single type of magic dealer you could possibly imagine right there in that room. You had every magic dealer that you could imagine. And just the ability to go and spend 3 days looking around those dealers is worth the price for me, and then some. I mean, if anything, I think the price for the Blackpool Magic Convention is way too cheap. I think it should be a lot more. You pay more to go to Magic Live. You pay way more to go to Magic Live. And the dealer hall, I always find it funny when I go to Magic Live and people go, oh, isn't the dealer hall big? I'm like, no, it's not. It's tiny compared to what I'm used to at Blackpool. It's a great dealer hall, but it's very, very tiny compared to what I'm used to. The cost of Magic Live is way more expensive than Blackpool. And also, because it's in Blackpool, the price of drinks and food is really cheap. You know, you can walk outside. There's tons of restaurants. You're in Blackpool Centre. The prices are cheap. It's the north. The prices are really cheap. I probably could feed my family I could probably feed Ryland, Thea, Sarah and myself and have a 3-course meal in a restaurant in Blackpool for the same price it cost me to go and get 3 or 4 pints at the session convention at the Radisson. You know, I'm spending way less going to Blackpool. It's not just about Blackpool. The accommodation is way cheaper. The amount that I spend when I go to the session convention is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. When I come here, I can get accommodation very, very cheaply. I can get food and drink very, very cheaply. And the actual cost of the convention is not that expensive at all when you consider everything that you get. Let's compare to the session, which is very difficult to do because the session is a completely different thing. But in some ways, there's a crossover. There's lots of people sessioning at the session. There's lots of people sessioning at Blackpool. It's a 3-day convention at the session. It's a 3-day convention at Blackpool. They have gala shows at the session. They have gala shows at Blackpool. In every single way, in every single measurable way, Blackpool pisses over the session from a great height. Talk about the cost of food. Talk about the cost of drink. Talk about the cost of accommodation. Talk about the quality of the acts. Talk about the amount of acts. Talk about the dealer hall, which in the session is open for 1 day, unless you count Vanishing Ink. Talk about the eclectic range of dealers. Talk about the lecturers, the amount of lecturers, the competition, even the sessioning and the ruskin till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, you've got to walk outside and walk 5 minutes down the road. But let's not forget, at the session convention, they shut the fucking lights off at midnight and tell you to go to bed. Like, in every single measurable way, Blackpool is the greatest magic convention of all time. And if you're saying that it's too expensive, the simple solution is don't go, because it ain't too expensive. I'm telling you right now, it's just not. Okay, number 4, talking about people that say that it's too expensive. This is an extra point that I wanted to make. People that moan about the gala shows. The amount of people that moan about the gala shows. Well, this is the worst gala show that I've seen in my entire history of coming to Blackpool. I've been to the Blackpool Magic Convention since I was a little child, and I'm telling you the shit that I saw on that convention stage tonight. It would make Derek Lever roll in his grave. It's embarrassing. Fuck off. Just fuck the fuck off, and fuck off all the way to fuck offsville. Like, come on. Come on, seriously? Seriously? Those gala shows are amazing. They really are. Not just the gala shows, all the shows. How you can say the gala show is shit, I really have no idea. Are they perfect? No. Are there things that I could pick on a little bit? Yeah. On the Sunday, I felt that the Montreal Trio, the concept of what they did with the camera over the tarpaulin was hilarious. But I think it could have been a bit shorter. I think that the gag wore out after 5 minutes. I think it could have been half the length and it would have been better. But do I think it's bad? No, I think the Montreal Trio are brilliant. I think that every act that was on that convention deserved to be there. I think that every single act that was on those gala shows or performing on stage deserved to be there. And yeah, there's going to be a couple of things that go awry occasionally because you're basically teching multiple shows at the same time. And you don't have a lead-in time. It's like Thursday. That's when it starts, and you've got to tech everything. Are there going to be an occasional mistake or two? Probably. But I think that they fucking nail it. And to say that the gala shows are worst gala show of all time, bollocks. Absolute bollocks. The gala shows were amazing. Now, you are entitled to your opinion. You are absolutely entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. This is where I give my opinion. If you don't like it, that's fine. Not a problem. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. But the fact is, I watched all 3 of those gala shows. Forget about all the other satellite shows. I watched all 3 of those gala shows, and I thought every single one of them was awesome. And any single one of them, if I'd have spent 50, 100 quid on one ticket to go and see it, in the West End, for example, I would have been super happy. Absolutely super happy. And to say that it's the worst gala show ever, are we watching the same fucking shows? Are we watching the same thing? I would love anybody who said, the worst gala show of all time, fuck off. Anybody who says that, I would love you to go and assemble a team with the budget that Blackpool have and put on a gala show that's better. Bearing in mind, you're going to have to do everything. So you're going to have to know how to tech the show. You're going to have to know how to bring everything on and off. You're going to have to do everything. Everything. If things go wrong, you're going to have to deal with it. Because nobody would. Here's what would happen. Any one of those people moaning about the gala show, if you said, right, you can do the gala show next year's Blackpool, the second they walk backstage on the Thursday and they see everything that's going on, which isn't really set up because that's part of what you have to do, right? Here's what would happen. They would look round and they would shit themselves. Fact. Absolute, complete and total fact. The fact is, Blackpool are very fucking lucky that they've got Guy Barrett, Russ Brown and Russ Stevens that are overseeing the rest of the team because their combined experience of putting on stage shows, directing stage shows in a very high-pressure environment, with time constraints. I don't think there's a team of 3 people that have got as much skill and ability to be able to do that as well as those 3. And Blackpool are very lucky that those 3 are in place. And, Derek Lever's passed away recently. God rest his soul. Blackpool wouldn't be where it is without Derek Lever. But no one can argue that since Derek has passed on, since Derek left and this team have taken over, Blackpool has been taken to an entirely new level. And that's dealing with a global pandemic as well. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane to say that those gala shows are terrible. Okay, so the final thing that annoyed me in Blackpool, I've just put here, the food in the Winter Gardens. I'm sick of fucking shitty hot dogs. I really am. Look, again, it's only my opinion, but when you're working on a dealer booth, you don't have time to eat. You just don't, You're getting there at about 8 o'clock to set everything up. I especially was running all over the place. Oh, what am I doing now? Now I've got to take Ryland's show. Okay, right, okay. Now what have I got to do? Now I've got to rehearse to have my head chopped off. Brilliant. Okay, what have I got to do now? Now I've got to be on the Penguin booth. Okay, now what? Now I've got to be on the Magic TV booth. Now what? I'm running around like a blue-ass fly. I'm not having time to eat. And then I'm going into the first show with my wife and kids. So I'm going into the show at like 6:45. I'm getting out of the dealer hall at about 5:15. I've got an hour and a half to eat. I'm not going to be able to go out and eat anywhere. So what am I doing? I'm going and eating in the Winter Gardens. The price is okay. It's not brilliant, but the price is okay. You know, £6 for a hot dog. Whatever. It's way cheaper if I compare it to somewhere like the Session, but whatever. But I mean, honestly, the food is just dreadful. The hot dogs were just terrible. The curry, good Lord in heaven. I tried the curry one day, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have the drizzling shits for the rest of the year with the curry that I took. It wasn't curry, it was gravy with bits of chicken in. At least I think there were chicken. Maybe a bit of curry powder. Whatever. The food is terrible. If they're going to put food on at the Winter Gardens, try to at least make it a little bit better. And again, this is not about the organisers. I don't think there's another place that they could hold the Blackpool Magic Convention other than the Winter Gardens. And the Winter Gardens itself is an amazing venue to have this. There's so many different places that they can use. I know that they're an amazing venue to deal with outside of the security, power trip. But if I had one piece of advice for the Winter Gardens, it's please improve the food. Because the food is terrible and I hated it. And I spoke to somebody who said, oh my God, that's the nicest curry I've ever tasted. I'm like, dude, are you fucking joking? It really isn't. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a snob when it comes to, you know, overpriced shite. I don't know. But the food was not good. So there you go, guys. That's another 5x5 in the bag. Let me know what you think. Did you go to the Blackpool Magic Convention? What really annoyed you? Did these points annoy you as well? I want to know about it. Don't forget, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back with the top 10 best tricks at the Blackpool Magic Convention 2024. So look out for those. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again soon. My name's Craig, Magic TV.